He walked past me, his shoulders filling out his green knit polo shirt, his back straight, his steps lilting just slightly to the right as he walked steady and confident on what I had determined was a prosthetic leg. Osteosarcoma sometimes takes a limb to check you out. Then, if it likes you, it takes the rest. That's an excerpt from The Fault in Our Stars by John Green, the movie version of which just came out. It's a story about two teenagers that fall in love, but are simultaneously suffering from terminal cancer. On my reread, I knew it would be chock through with such a premise, right? With social emotional concepts, personal responsibility, social responsibility, empathy, perseverance. Obviously this book was going to have them, and it does. But what struck me on the reread was actually the social intelligence on display by the book's author, John Green, who uses actually writing technique and tool and devices in order to tell a story that would be unbearable otherwise to read, with how sad it really is. It turns an unbearable story into one that you really can't put down, which is I was just so impressed by. He does this with a variety of methods. One is with his use of sometimes overly clever, but we forgive him, dialogue of the teenagers. For example, on page 88, wait like Vladimir and Estragon wait for Godot, and good Christian girls wait for marriage. He's very silly with his writing. He brings a lightness to these moments with that sort of dialogue. But then sometimes in the harsher moments, he has to go a little bit further with actually using kind of relieving the reader with short bursts of paragraphs, with page breaks every few sentences, and short staccato sentences, such as on page 262, it was unbearable, the whole thing, every second worse than the last, which allows him to kind of give the reader what's happening, but also give the reader breaks to kind of emotionally kind of recuperate from these intense spells of tragedy, really. In addition, he uses scientific language at points. On page 245, hi, I'm at the Speedway on 86th and Ditch, and I need an ambulance. The great love of my life has a malfunctioning G-tube. It's these sorts of examples and these variety of examples that make The Fault in Our Stars actually a lovely read, even if you're crying through it. You will cry. I mean, it is something, you're not going to be able to get around that, but it makes the story, it makes the reader able to accept the story into the way it gives it to them slowly in small doses, in a way that you can take in without being overwhelmed by emotion, without wanting to throw the book at the wall, without not being able to move forward because it's so sad. It's so sad. It's so lovely. I mean, let's be clear, it's lovely, but it is terribly sad, and it provides a unique opportunity for educators, because teenagers, I don't know if you know this, but they're like in love with this, as are pretty much anybody that reads it. But it's a unique opportunity for educators to dig in and look at actual literary technique and show how it can be a storytelling tool in a way that's kind of palatable and accessible and interesting to young readers. That's what I really liked about it. There's a lot more social emotional concepts, which I explore in discussion questions below me per usual, so I hope you enjoy diving into those as well, and I'll check out the movie and let you know on Facebook what I think of that too. That's Fault in Our Stars. I'm Allie. Thanks for watching Leaders in Literature.